winning the man's back.
Welcome back to Views and Vibes. Right. We are sitting here talking about a number of different things, in particular relationships and the mistakes people make during dating. And that's my question. What are some of the key mistakes people make when they are dating?
I think one of the first mistakes is, like you said, the location. And like, for me, I don't go to places where I know a lot of people know me.
What you hiding out for, man?
Well, it's not. I'm not hiding. Okay. It's just that you get interrupted. Yeah, I've made that mistake before. I went on a date with someone, and it was at a place down on U Street, which I do all my business. So every other minute, somebody was coming up, you know, saying hi to me or, you know, dapping me up and everything. And they didn't know that I'm on the first date with this person, but we kept getting interrupted. You know, you starting to get good into a conversation, and then, you know, oh, what's up, man? You know, oh, where was I? So I was like, okay, don't do that anymore. Right. You know, so I think that's one of the first mistakes is picking the type of place. It's putting too much pressure on it being a perfect date.
I know I did an interview before, and someone asked me that question. I said that I don't like doing I don't like doing activity dates on a first date, because what happens is you kind of get caught up in the activity and don't spend enough time really focusing on getting to know that person. Right. You know, and especially if you're a very competitive person, that all of a sudden can turn to something totally different. So here you are playing pool, and all of a sudden, you know, you're talking mess, and you don't know how that person can handle it, if they can handle it at all. Right. You know, so what are some of the other mistakes that?
Well, the conversation, you said it earlier, it's what are you talking about on the date? I think when you're, you know, you want to talk about things that put you in a place of comfort and confidence, but you don't want to drill and interview the person and go into a lot of specifics. You just want to have kind of a casual conversation just to get a feel for what their interests are and things they like to do. But I think so many people's conversation is like, I need to know what he does for a living, how much money he makes, where he lives. Like they're trying to size him up for, is he the one? Right. And it's just not relevant on a date until you really get to a more meaningful relationship.
Well, isn't that people just don't know how to have conversations anymore? Yeah. Have we lost the art of conversation?
We really have. Social media has killed it. I mean, I always ask somebody, are you the dull personality on the date? You know, so you might want to change that. But I think, you know, just having a real conversation, it's like we don't know how to date and relate. We don't know how to be friends with men. We just don't know how to hang out. It's kind of like just some of the basics of dating and relating to each other, you know, as male and female, is just kind of gone by the wayside.
So how do we become better daters then?
Become friends with the opposite sex. Yes. If you cannot handle friendships with, for me, like friendships with men, I am not ready for advanced, complicated relationships like marriage. You know, if you're not at the basic level, becoming friends with the man, forget about marriage.
So you have to have that ability, that basic ability to be friends with somebody of the opposite sex. Okay.
Learning how to interact with each other without the intention on getting to be with them. And that's one of the biggest things that I've always preached is like a lot of my male friends, like I'm a DJ, and they'll come to the spots that I DJ, and the first thing they'll ask me all the time, yo, what the ladies looking like? I'm like, that's irrelevant, just come on through and have some fun. And then some of my friends, when they get there, they're sitting there like, you know, ain't nobody talking to me, or I don't seem to be getting no play. I'm like, that's because you sitting there looking like you looking for play. I'm like, learn how to just interact. It's like, this is sister sitting right there at the bar by herself. Go introduce yourself and just have a conversation with her.
Don't act like you're trying to get with me.
Exactly. Just talk to her. You know, and a lot of guys don't know how to do that. They don't know how to just actually just talk to a woman and just actually have a good conversation. And I know you ladies love good conversations.
But how much of that falls on the lady too? Because there's so many women out there who like they don't want to be approached.
They're not approachable. They give off all the vibe. They make it uncomfortable for a guy.
Their nonverbal says, please don't step to me. I'm not interested.
So how do you, when you're coaching someone, how do you get them to open up so that people will be willing to approach them?
Well, your mannerisms go a long way. And like I'm sitting here, and if you're talking to me at the bar, and you're talking, and I'm looking around at everybody but you. I'm telling you, really, I'm not interested. You know, and everybody, both sexes need to pay attention to the nonverbals. Those weigh very heavily.
And that's the other thing about it is just, I think that's an issue of respect, first of all. If someone is talking to you, whether you're interested or not, you know, turning your head and looking everywhere else, or the cell phone thing and all of that, it's like, hey, you know, you're not paying attention to this person. Now, I've told people myself, of like, sometimes you may meet Mr. Right or Mrs. Right, but you were so busy
looking for somebody
else that you didn't notice what was sitting right in front of you because you just were too busy trying to find that perfect, hookup and everything. But I think, like I said, this microwave mentality that we have is that, they got to come through and the doors got to bust open and the flowers got to come out and the wind's got to be and the light behind them and everything. You hear the music and it's like, oh, it ain't got to be all of that. Sometimes you be surprised. How many people have you met where they're like married now or in long-term relationships where they say, at first I wasn't even attracted to her or him. And then they being their perfect mate, you know. So
well, and the one thing on that, the approachable, one thing studies say the one most approachable thing a person can do is to smile.
Smile, exactly.
It shows you are happy about something, yourself or your life, and that's an attraction factor. So if you're not smiling, you're not going to attract people to you because you're kind of sending a message to the world. I got some stuff on my mind, or I have issues. So I think by smiling, you're going to be automatically more approachable.
Well, I think some people also say that they don't want to look goofy. They don't just want to be sitting there smiling. Then,
we say cheese.
Hey, how you doing? Come on.
Yeah, cool commercial.
But real quick, because we have to go in a few minutes. Real quick, who are some of the best daters? Because I know when I was doing my research for my book, It's Just a Damn Date. When I talked to women over the age of 35 who were divorcees, they had it down. They're like, look, I'm just trying to have a good time. I'm not trying to marry anybody. Who do you find to be some of the best daters that you talk to?
You know who the best daters are? It's and I can be biased. I would say women over 40 are the best daters because they know the difference between someone who's good for dating versus someone who's good for a committed long-term partner. Some women don't even know there's a difference. There's people who you can date and have fun with and kick it, and then you have to know what your needs are for a long-term committed relationship. So they can go out and have the proper perspective on the date because they know what they're looking for and they're very clear about it, and they don't have to make every man they meet that person. So I think their clarity is super precise, and it makes them be able to enjoy it for what it is because they know what it is. We're just hanging out.
We have to go, you guys, but I'm going to bring everybody back for the second part of this series on relationships. But first, I'd like to thank J.J. Smith, Jamal Muhammad, and Nicole Turner for joining us today. Look for part 2 in a few weeks. You can also find out more about my guests by going to our website, viewsandvibes.com. My name is Tariiq Walton, and this has been Views and Vibes.